many things affect your life as much as slow traffic and bad weather? Listen tomorrow morning for Traffic and Weather Together every 10 minutes on the 9s on KSL News Radio.
Welcome back into Cougar Nation here on KSL News Radio. Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte with you. It's March Madness. Number 6 seed BYU in the East region going to be taking on number 11 seed VCU Rams. And tip-off will be at 2:05 p.m. Mountain Time. We'll have extended pregame getting started at noon from Denver. We'll have you covered for the Cougars and the Rams. Should be a good one on Thursday. I always love the weekday afternoon games because it has the true feeling of March Madness. You're distracted from work. You're not no one's working on Thursday. No one cares about work. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, let's get out to the phone line though, and bring in someone to help us break down the VCU Rams. He is Adam Epstein. Adam, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Looking forward to this matchup.
It really should be a good one, Adam. And again, Adam Epstein, 910 The Fan in Richmond, covers VCU. And Adam, you know, this VCU team is red hot. BYU comes in 9 out of their last 10 they've won. 12 out of the last 14, I believe, for VCU. This team is rolling. What's working so well for the Rams right now?
Honestly, it's a little bit of everything. They have shown the ability to win a rock fight defensive battle. That was the A-10 championship game against George Mason, the best defensive team in the A-10. And they can win in a shootout because they have 4 scorers who average 10 points per game. That's the first time that's happened for VCU in 30 years. So they can win any style of game. They really are a strong defensive team this year. That's really what Ryan Odom has done, is built on the defensive side of the ball. And offense, they know they've got 65% of the offensive production from last season that came back, including Max Scholga. So the offense has been consistent, and the defense has been the thing that's been getting better for VCU throughout the course of the year. And they're playing great basketball right now. They went to Washington, D.C., feeling like they should be an at-large bid, but didn't want to put that into the committee's hands. And they won 3 straight games in 3 days to win the A-10 championship to make sure they get that bid into the NCAA tournament.
Adam, what makes VCU such a good defensive team? Because that's, I feel like, the narrative with this group nationally is that that's their calling card on the defensive end. But why are they so good defensively?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because nationally everybody talks about the Havoc defense that Shaka Smart started about 15 years ago, and the Rams have been through 4 coaches since then. So it's a completely different style. Ryan Odom comes in, he's an offensive-minded coach, but he brought with him guys that played for Shaka Smart, so they understand the Havoc. And this season is year 2 of Ryan Odom. It's been more about the increasing the defensive effort. They have gone back to a full court style pressure, that Havoc style. And so they have incredible guards that can stay in front of you. Zeb Jackson and Max Scholga are some of the best defenders in the Atlantic 10 this year. And now they've got a freshman shot blocker named Luke Bamboye, who is one of the best shot blockers in the country as a freshman. He was spectacular the last 3 days in the A-10 tournament, and that's what he is. He is a rim-protecting big. He's not going to do much on the offensive end except for, catch, lobs and alley-oops and dunks. But on defense, he protects the rim, and that's what makes VCU so good defensively.
Talk with Adam Epstein, breaking down the VCU Rams here on KSL News Radio. You can listen to Adam on 910 The Fan in Richmond. And Adam, Ryan Odom had some really highly efficient offenses at Utah State when he was out here, this part of the country. What's the offense like with VCU? Is it more of that 5-out efficient shooters? That's what I remember when he was with the Aggies.
Yeah, no, to be honest with you, I think Ryan Odom is looking forward to this matchup. But we've played New Mexico this year, lost. Nevada lost. Colorado State won. So they really like playing against, teams from the Northwest there. Of course, he was at Utah State, so he should have some familiarity. And on offense, the ball is ping-ponging around. It's not much one-on-one ball at all. It's drive and dish, sort of like what you saw at UMBC when they beat UVA, drive and kick it out, as they surround Luke Bamboye, the shot blocker, with 4 shooters. And that's what makes VCU so hard to defend, is if you help off at all, somebody is going to be open, and they are most likely at least a 32% three-point shooter. So they've got shooters in the starting lineup. They've got 2 or 3 shooters off the bench, and this is one of the deepest teams that VCU has had. There have been a lot of comparisons here in Richmond to the 2011 Final Four squad, and this year's squad is about 23 pointers away from breaking their record all time here in VCU history. So they've got three-point shooters. They've got defense. I mean, this team can do everything. They have what it takes to be a second weekend of the NCAA tournament team. That's why we were so excited to see them win the Atlantic 10 and not just put it into the committee's hands.
What are some areas of attack that you think VCU can take advantage of this BYU team?
No, I need to look into BYU and how you guys will look to defend VCU, but I really think it comes down to VCU's offensive game here and the scores that they have at the guard position. They have the guard play with Max Scholga, A10 Player of the Year, and Joe Bamisile, who's averaging 15 points per game, to go with any of the guards around the country. And then they've got the sixth man of the year in the A10 and Zeb Jackson, who began his career at Michigan in a Power 5 and has come off the bench this year simply because he was injured to start the season and they didn't want to mess with the rotations. So you have a star coming off the bench in Zeb Jackson, who's averaging 10 points per game. So they've got scorers off the bench. And really, I think it's going to come down to the three-point shooting for VCU. They won 3 games in 3 days without shooting above their average from the three-point line. So they have not peaked yet at this point this season.
Adam, last thing for you. What's maybe the one area on this VCU team heading into March Madness that's maybe a question mark or an area that needs to improve with this team on a more consistent basis?
Yeah, no, it's the whistles. It really is. The refs, if they get control of this game, that's when VCU gets in trouble. If they start getting the fouls racking up, all of a sudden, it feels like every time down the court, BYU is getting at least free throws because they're in the double bonus. You go back to the losses this season. VCU lost to a Seton Hall team that's not very good, but because Chauncey Jenkins from Seton Hall drove to the basket and got free throws. The final 4 or 5 possessions of that game, he just lived at the free throw line. So VCU is such an aggressive defensive team. Sometimes the fouling could get in their way, and it can be an issue. So you got to make sure that they defend without fouling in the second half because I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think VCU wants to push the tempo. They want to go toe-to-toe with BYU here and make this a high-scoring game because they believe they can get the clutch stops, hopefully without fouling.
He's Adam Epstein. You can listen to his work, 910 The Fan in Richmond. He'll be in Denver. I'll see you there in Denver. Adam, thanks for the breakdown on the Rams.
Yeah, no problem, man. Looking forward to it.
That's Adam Epstein here on Cougar Nation on KSL News Radio. News, traffic, and weather. Cougar Nation sponsored by Central Bank.